Have you ever pondered on the thin line between a fun hobby and a crippling addiction, especially when it comes to gambling? In the vast landscape of human behavior, gambling is a common pastime that many indulge in, from friendly poker nights to the glitzy allure of casinos. But beneath the surface, there's a darker side to this seemingly harmless entertainment. A side that often goes unnoticed until it's too late: gambling addiction. Gambling addiction is a pervasive issue, a hidden menace lurking in the shadows. It's not just about losing money, it's about losing control. It seeps into lives subtly, masquerading as a fun night out or a way to blow off steam. And before you know it, it has morphed into an insatiable beast that demands more and more. It's easy to dismiss gambling addiction as an issue that only affects a handful of people, but the reality is that it's far more widespread than many realize. Every day, countless individuals find themselves caught in the grip of this addiction, their lives spiraling out of control as they struggle to keep their heads above water. This addiction is not limited to any particular demographic or socioeconomic group. It doesn't discriminate. It can ensnare anyone, from the high-flying executive to the blue-collar worker. It's a menace that remains largely hidden, its true extent obscured by the stigma and shame that often accompanies it. Much like an iceberg, the most dangerous part of gambling addiction is what lies beneath the surface. It's not just about the money lost or the debt accumulated. It's about the relationships strained, the mental health compromised, and the lives derailed. But the first step to addressing any problem is recognizing its existence. And that's precisely what we're doing here. We're unmasking this hidden menace, bringing it out of the shadows and into the light where it can't hide anymore. So, it's evident that gambling addiction is a hidden menace, silently causing havoc in people's lives. But remember, knowledge is power. And with understanding, we can start to combat this issue, one step at a time. Now, you might wonder, how prevalent is gambling addiction, really? Delving into the numbers, it's more common than you might think. Globally, an estimated 2 to 3% of the population, or around 150 to 200 million people, grapple with a gambling problem. This isn't a minor issue, it's a worldwide concern. So who are the most affected? Surprisingly, young people, especially males, are at the highest risk. In fact, men are twice as likely as women to be problem gamblers. However, gambling addiction doesn't discriminate. It can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, or socioeconomic status. Now let's talk about the economic impact. Gambling addiction costs the U.S. economy alone an estimated $6 billion annually. This includes not just the gamblers' lost money, but also other economic effects like job loss, bankruptcy, and even criminal justice costs. But the cost isn't just economic. The psychological implications are profound. Problem gamblers are likely to suffer from mental health disorders. They're twice as likely to experience depression and 20 times more likely to attempt suicide. These are not just numbers. They represent real people, real lives, real suffering. The societal impact is as devastating. Problem gambling can lead to a breakdown of families and relationships and contribute to a cycle of poverty and crime. It's not just the gambler who suffers, but also their loved ones and their community. These staggering figures highlight how gambling addiction is not just a personal struggle, but a societal issue. It's not about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's about understanding the scope of the problem and working together to find solutions. We need to shift our perspective from viewing gambling as a harmless pastime to recognizing it as a potential source of addiction and devastation. In the next scene, we'll delve deeper into the impact on the individual and society. For now, let's pause and reflect on the numbers behind the addiction. Remember, these aren't just statistics, they're stories of people's lives. And each story is a call to action, a call to care, and a call to change. So, what happens when the dice aren't in your favor and gambling takes over your life? Imagine a boulder rolling down a hill, gathering speed and causing destruction in its wake. That's what gambling addiction can feel like for those ensnared in its grip. It's not just about losing money, it's about the toll it takes on a person's mental and physical health, personal relationships, and financial stability. Let's start with mental health. Gambling addiction has been linked to a range of psychological issues, including anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. The constant stress of losing, the pressure to win back lost money, and the guilt associated with hiding the addiction can be emotionally overwhelming. Physical health isn't spared either. The stress and anxiety can manifest as sleep disorders, headaches, and other stress-related conditions. There's also the risk of resorting to substance abuse as a coping mechanism, further compounding the health issues. Beyond the individual's health, gambling addiction can cause significant disruption in personal relationships. Trust is eroded as the individual becomes more secretive and isolated, trying to conceal the extent of their addiction. Families are torn apart, friendships are strained, and the individual may end up feeling alone and misunderstood. Financial stability takes a massive hit as well. A compulsive gambler can quickly accumulate massive debt, leading to bankruptcy, loss of property, and even criminal activities in an attempt to fund the addiction. But the effects of gambling addiction don't stop at the individual level. Society feels the impact too. Health and social services are strained as they try to cope with the fallout from gambling addiction. There's the cost of treating the associated physical and mental health issues, the cost of dealing with crime related to gambling, and the cost of social welfare for families affected by a member's gambling addiction. Clearly, the ripple effects of gambling addiction extend far beyond the individual, impacting families and communities as a whole. But what if I told you there is a way out, a path towards recovery and regaining control? This path isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's a journey of self-discovery and healing, and it begins with understanding the various treatment options available for gambling addiction. One of the most effective ways to combat gambling addiction is through therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, for instance, focuses on changing unhealthy gambling behaviors and thoughts, such as rationalizations and false beliefs. It can also teach you how to fight urges and solve financial, work, and relationship problems caused by problem gambling. Another vital part of the treatment process is participation in support groups. These groups provide a safe, supportive environment where you can share your experiences, gain insights from others who are also struggling with gambling addiction, and learn coping strategies. Gamblers Anonymous is a well-known group that uses a 12-step recovery program similar to Alcoholics Anonymous. In some cases, medication may be necessary. Certain antidepressants, mood stabilizers, and narcotic antagonists have been found to reduce the symptoms of compulsive gambling in some people. Remember, it's essential to consult with a healthcare professional before starting any medication regimen. But the cornerstone of any recovery journey is seeking help. It's okay to ask for assistance. It doesn't mean you're weak or a failure. It means you're human and you're ready to make a change. The road to recovery from gambling addiction is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a journey that requires patience, commitment, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of a better future. It's about reclaiming your life, rebuilding your relationships, and rediscovering the joy and fulfillment that gambling has overshadowed. Just remember, you're not alone. There are people who understand what you're going through, who want to help, and who believe in your ability to make a change. Reach out to them, lean on them, let them guide you along the path to recovery. Remember, the first step towards recovery is acknowledging the problem and seeking help. You're stronger than you think, and you have the power to overcome this. Believe in yourself and take that first step. While treatment is available, wouldn't it be better to prevent the issue in the first place? Indeed, the key to combating gambling addiction lies not just in recovery, but in prevention as well. Education plays a vital role here. By making people aware of the potential dangers of gambling and the signs of addiction, we empower them to make informed decisions. This knowledge can help them recognize the early signs of a problem, allowing for swift intervention. Early intervention is another crucial strategy. If we can identify and address a budding gambling problem before it fully blooms, we can help individuals avoid the destructive path of addiction. Lastly, promoting responsible gambling practices is essential. This means setting limits on gambling time and money, avoiding chasing losses, and understanding that gambling should be a form of entertainment, not a way to make money. After all, Prevention is always better than cure, isn't it? So, we've journeyed through the hidden world of gambling addiction, its impacts, and the road to recovery. We've unmasked the menace, delved into the numbers, and explored its individual and societal impacts. We've also shed light on the path to treatment and recovery and the crucial importance of prevention. This journey has shown us that gambling addiction, like any other disease, requires understanding, compassion, and a proactive approach. It's a battle that can be won, but it requires collective action. We can all play a role, whether it's by spreading awareness, offering support to those affected, or advocating for better resources and treatment options. Knowledge is power, and by understanding gambling addiction, we can help combat this hidden menace. Don't forget to subscribe for more educational content like this. Remember, you're not alone, and help is just a call away.